Hey,
What's
Griff.
up, Ray?
All right, guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the Bucher's Batch of Boys Fantasy Baseball
Hey,
Podcast.
hey.
Hey, is right. I am joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Raymond Zink. What's up, Raymond?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And special guest star, Griffin. What's up, Griff?
Hey, how's it going? I thought I was the co-host and Ray was the special guest. Did I have it
It was going to
backwards?
be that way. It was going to be, but then Raymond paid really quick, so I feel like they saw his face probably. I wanted to just get him out there. We can alternate. You guys can host. I can be the guest. We don't have Kyle this week.
Yeah,
Kyle
well,
is in the
you're the
process of
guest
flipping the
today.
house.
Nick.
He's moving. So, Kyle, while you defend one of his top two spots in the league, top two or three, depending on the day, we'll cover the pod for you. First, though, Griffin, that's before we get into some trades. There's a whole bunch of them to get through. Since the last pod, someone's made a little meteoric rise right now in the standings. What's going on with that, buddy? How you feeling?
I know it feels weird. I think after like the first 3 weeks, I was in like 11th place, and I was like feeling pretty bad, and made it out of that mediocrity. So we'll see if it holds, but about the best I felt about fantasy in quite a while. So
Imagine if that team you have right now was kicking ass. Imagine if that team had Shohei Ohtani.
I don't think it would be much different. He's not that good.
And
The
Raymond,
steals would help.
you have Shohei Ohtani. Are you still enjoying him?
Yeah, I'm still enjoying him. It's been losing track of his home runs. It seems like he hits one every other night. He's pretty good. I think he's between him and Lindor. They're the only players keeping my offense afloat and keeping my team in the running because Jake Bowers, Colt Keith, and Connor Norby certainly are not. Nor is Christian Campbell, but we'll hit on that later.
Yeah, no doubt we will. Let's get into some trades. There's a whole bunch. Last time we caught it was, I think, May 15th, something like that. So, a whole bunch to go back through here. Last one we broke down was this big Jackson Holiday blockbuster, and that was great because we had Brennan on. Let's start, though, since we have Raymond on, with the very next one after that. It happened on the 18th. This is part of Raymond's 6 trades in 6 hours challenge he did. So, a lot of Raymond coming up here. But this one first is Nick Pivetta and Brian Reynolds for Cam Smith and Trent Grisham. Griffin as the non-Raymond. What do you think?
I think overall it's pretty fair. At the time, Trent Grisham was like the hottest player in baseball, and at $1. And Cam Smith, hyped up rookie at $1, who's been performing better, I think, since that trade was made. And in return, you get Brian Reynolds, who's just, I think, about the most oatmeal-y solid player there is. Like when I think of just solid just solid contributor, I think Brian Reynolds. So I think it's fair. Nick Pivetta, solid pitcher too. Um, it's just trading keeper value for a little more solid production, I feel like. So makes sense.
Yeah. Pivetta's probably having his best season so far as of now. I mean, there's still 65% of it to go, but yeah, ranked SP 15 right now. He's been pretty good. He's prone to blowups, but I like him. And like you just said, I feel like oatmeal is the perfect word for Brian Reynolds. Dude is just like a metronome of 10%, 20% better than most categories than the average player. Grisham's been so red hot to start the year, and he's still hitting the ball really well, still making pretty good decisions at the plate. But Stanton's coming back. He has never performed at that high level the whole time. I get trying to go for the safer play for Raymond. And I don't know. I think it's a pretty even trade. Raymond, we didn't really give you a win or a loss there, but tell us about the trade. What happened here? Was this you? Was this Sand? Who came to who?
Yeah, so before this flurry of trades I made, I was looking at my team, and I realized that I had a lot of players that had a lot of question marks around them. Trent Grisham and Cam Smith being two of them. And if I was going to compete this year, I wanted to try to get some more sure thing or safer bet players to actually, oatmeal players to actually give me guaranteed stats going forward. And I thought Brian Reynolds was exactly that. I feel like I kind of got him on a discount. I was selling high on Trent Grisham, and Brian Reynolds was hitting like 210, but when I acquired him, he's like $45. No way he's going to be kept. If anybody on this league has thinks he has keeper value, hit me up. I can certainly work something out with you, but I don't plan on keeping him. And Nick Pivetta, I think last place in quality starts and near last in wins. And Nick Pivetta was, I think he had like 7 quality starts when I acquired him, and he's helped me carve my way out of last place in that category. So just, with this trade and a couple of the other trades I made that we're going to talk about, I was trying to, I guess, cash in on some of my uncertain, unproven players and get more players with a better track record so I could feel better going forward. I think it's a fair deal on both sides, though. I mean, Grisham, if he continues what he's doing, it's going to be incredible value.
Yeah, I agree. And Brian Reynolds, he was starting a lot cooler. He's picking it up now, though. I know he's still hitting 230, whatever it says for the year, but
yeah,
it was sub 200 for all that.
I was going to say, I feel like that was like prime buy low window on Brian Reynolds, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're just like the fantasy pros, buy low, sell high. It's like, buy Brian Reynolds, sell Trent Grisham. And Raymond just was like, I'm going to do exactly that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I think you definitely have the better players for this year, I think. Obviously, Cam Smith and Trent Grisham, one or both could be keepers for Jack. So, we'll see.
Yeah, and I like Cam Smith a lot, too. I think he's going to be a good player for Houston for a long time. It's just I don't know if he's going to hit, 25 and 280 like a lot of people think he can. I don't know if he'll do that this year. Probably next year.
Yeah.
I'd be on that.
Super reasonable thought, I think. You only waited 2 hours, which is a common thing with these trades coming up here. But 2 hours later, you said, the itch is still going, I got a scratch. And you traded Willie Adames and Blake Snell for Pajes with Griffin. Interesting.
I guess you break that down first, Nick, right?
Yeah, I'm going first here.
All right.
This is an interesting one. This is one where I think I like the Adames and Snell. And Pajes has been incredible. And Pajes has also been, I think last time we potted was 3 weeks ago, so we were not even a quarter of the way, a little close to a quarter of the way. Now we're like a third of the way almost this season. Pajes is beating expectations in a good way. He's a super good keeper, I think, even if he really pulls off from here. His defense will keep him in the lineup, I think. And he is unquestionably the keeper, the long-term piece that's worth owning in this deal. That said, if you're trying to go for it, if and when Blake Snell comes back, we've seen him go really fucking nuclear for like 2 months at a time. The Dodgers are a great place for him. And Willie Adames is such an underperformer in a way that is just super interesting because he was so good last year. I know his metrics are a little bit down, but they're not like bottom of the barrel in a way that feels sort of Brian Reynolds. Like he's going to get better. I don't think he's going to do what he did last year. He's not going to hit 35 home runs, but I do like him. So I think I would say 55, 58%. I would take Adames and Snell. But I get why you'd make it on both sides. Who came to who here, though? How'd this one happen?
I feel like we were talking probably big trades, right? And how did it happen? Do you remember?
No, not exactly. I mean, I feel like once a week, you and I just text about baseball and something ends up happening. I think that's pretty much how this went down. You hit me up for Pajes, and I think we exchanged a handful of offers. And, first there were blockbuster offers, like probably involved Ohtani and, several of your best players. And we whittled it down to Pajes, for this deal.
If I could make a suggestion, because it's kind of the opposite of what you guys keep doing the entire last 6 months. Griffin's the team that's about to potentially win. So maybe trade like Duran for Ohtani, or trade Griffin for guys who can help him win now. Griffin is like perennially disinterested in winning. He loves to finish like second, third, or fourth, but just always having guys like Pajes. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't think that would make sense for either of us, but
no, I don't think so.
So I found the original. The original offer was Framber, Nimmo, and Rafaela for Betts, Grisham, and Pajes, and then we worked our way down.
I don't like that first one very much.
Neither did Ray.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
All right, so this one, I mean, do you guys still feel like it was fair? Do you feel like you would both make it again, though?
I think I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Good.
In this, I had the same exact mindset with this deal as I did in the last one. I was trying to trade somebody with not much of a track record for one or two players with a good track record. Stats that I felt like I could bank on going forward. So.
Makes sense. All right, let's hit the next one then. You waited 2 more hours, and then you came back here and you hit up Brendan. And you said, Brendan, I want Christian Campbell and Michael Bush. I'm going to give you Jordan and Nico Horner. That's a pretty big one.
Yeah. No, I'll say up front. At the time this trade was made, at least, I knew Brendan was getting the better end of the deal. I give him like 60-40, maybe even 70-30 on that one. But I was looking at my team, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't have Cam Smith, I don't have Trent Grisham, I don't have Andy Pajes anymore. None of my $1 young players. I was like, I want a young stud.
Time to rebuild.
What was that?
You felt like it was time to rebuild.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just wanted to. There's a balance you want to strike, right? Where having, if you're not going all in like Brendan is, or like Kyle may be, you want to have some keeper value on your team too. So I'm trying to strike that balance. So I reached out to several owners in the league. Charlie, I tried getting PCA from him, Merrill from him. I probably reached out to you two. I think I reached out about James Wood as well. Kudos to you, Nick, for getting him. And then I ended up, I was just trying to gauge the market, and this was the best deal that I thought I could make at the time. So Christian Campbell for Jordan Alvarez. Unfortunately, Alvarez was hurt at the time. It really sucks the news about him. Hopefully he recovers quickly, performs well for Brendan. But hopefully Campbell also pans out going forward too. I just wanted to get a player that I could bank on. Who could give me good performance for years to come. And I feel like Campbell will be able to do that regardless of how he performs this year. So that's the thought process there.
What do you think, Griff?
Yeah, I feel like when you made the trade, Campbell was almost at like his highest point, and it kind of sucks that since then he's kind of not done as well. But when you consider at the time, if you think he's like the number one young player who hasn't really shown more than a month, like that tier of player, if you think he's the number one young guy or up there, then I think it makes sense, or isn't terrible at least. And Michael Bush is also, where is he ranked on the year? Is he like a top?
I think he's like
5 first baseman.
Yeah, it's probably top 12.
He is 7th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think, Raymond, you were a little bit too quick to get it defended. I think it makes sense. I mean, Jordan is a perennial back of the first round guy. He's getting a little bit pricier. And it's funny. I feel like Griffin's point's exactly right. I feel like early May was probably the high point for Christian Campbell's value because he was just on another level all of April. He had all the pedigree, all the hype. But, I mean, Jordan is getting Kyle Tuckered from last year where they say, he has a really mild injury and he doesn't play for months. So it's not like he hasn't also lost value. Even that said, though, I try to grade the trades. I feel like even though we're doing this a couple weeks later, I'm sort of what I think then mindset. And I don't know. I don't think it's bad. I think I do slightly prefer Brendan's side.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, Bush and Nico are both, I think, 12 and 15 respectively. So there's potential keeper value there on both. But Bush is cheaper. You wanted to potentially keep him at 17 if he has a good year. I think it's not shocking. And Campbell's exciting for the future. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's – I'd probably go 55% to Brendan's side, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I basically traded Jordan for Caminero, so Christian Campbell is about that tier of prospect, at least at the time, so reasonable enough, right?
Like Griffin said, Christian Campbell was, and I think still kind of is. It's so funny with these prospects. I feel like a lot of times, like the best time to trade Roman Anthony for me, even though I'm now rebuilding, is probably the day he gets called up because there's probably never going to be more value than right then. That's how I feel with all of them. But all right, let's keep moving here. Raymond's not done yet. That was 10:30. You took a quick power nap. You woke up. You texted Mark's dad and said, hey, let's trade Tyler Fitzgerald for Luke Jackson. Quick little one-for-one swap. Griffin, what do you like better?
Well, I know Luke Jackson's already on the wire, and I guess Tyler Fitzgerald, he's on Monkey Business. Did he get traded, or was he also dropped?
Yeah, he was my next trade.
Oh, okay.
30 minutes. No, next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I like it in the sense that he was turned into other value.
Yeah.
I guess you win.
I think I liked Fitzgerald more at the time, just because even though Jackson was pretty good, kind of like Christian Campbell in the first month, he was actually getting saves and doing kind of well. But it just always kind of felt like a situation to me, especially if Texas got better since they had Robertson last year, where like they get Robertson signed or they trade for a reliever if they're going to be good. and he's just not amazing under the hood. His peripherals aren't special. I felt like he was kind of playing with danger there. Fitzgerald is not special, so I can see your stand also wanting to get the quick saves while you can get them. Makes complete sense there. I would lean Raymond's side very like 52% on this one, but I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Raymond? Would you do it again?
Yeah, I mean, I'd do it again. I think the way this deal transpired was Jack updated his trade block saying that he was looking for saves and holds. So I immediately reached out to him. He offered this deal, Fitzgerald for Luke Jackson, and I quickly pulled up Fitzgerald's numbers from last year. They were impressive over a small sample size, and I just pulled the trigger. It was pretty quick. And then segueing into the next deal, I looked at Fitzgerald's strikeout rate from last year, and I was like, oh, that's high. I'm gonna see what I can get for him. So Monkey Business and I were chatting, and then this was also on the heels of Jared Jones receiving news that he wasn't going to need TJ, but some pretty sketchy results came. He had suffered a setback, I think, and he was getting a second opinion. So I reached out to Monkey Business, like, hey, are you interested in these two players? And I made it clear that there was some sketchiness around Jared Jones, who might need TJ. But he still might have keeper value for next year, depending on if you really like him. So that's how this next deal went down. I like Garcia. It's I know he's a favorite of the podcast by Kyle. So he might be on Kyle's team in the next couple of weeks. We'll see.
I like him too. Do you think as of right now he's someone who'll keep $15, $20 next year?
TBD. I mean, if he goes like 15 and 30, I'll probably keep him.
Yeah.
If he continues to hit in the top three of that lineup, he'll get good counting stats too. I think there's a good case to be made if he goes 15, 30 and, 175 runs plus RBIs.
Yeah. I asked because I feel like, to me, especially because he's gotten better since May 19th when you guys made the trade, but
yeah.
I don't know if I think is Jones 11 next year. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think so.
He is. I think I'd probably agnostically prefer to keep Michael at 20, just knowing what I know right now, than Jones for 11 anyway.
Yeah.
So I think this is the biggest kind of wing on one side. I'd give you probably 2/3 of my preference here. I get it for Nick, and he might like Jared Jones more. I like him. I think it's completely defensible. But
yeah, and Fitzgerald too. I mean, I think Fitzgerald hasn't played much this season. If he, happens to be a guy who can perform at a high level with a high strikeout rate, then I think because he's cheap, I think he can make a good case to be kept as well. Because I think he's only $6. With that said, I haven't really been following him so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of Michael Garcia too. Just good speed, a little bit of below average power. He just isn't getting quite the playing time. He doesn't quite have the. I think the 20% makes Michael. But I don't know. Again, I think it's defensible. What do you think, bro?
I think I would easily take your side, Ray. I just feel like, to me, Tyler Fitzgerald seems almost like a waiver type guy. Like someone who may be on and off throughout the year.
Yeah.
And Jared Jones, once he got that second opinion, to me was almost valueless. Like, you offered him in one of our trades, and I was like, you can drop him. I'll take the aisle room.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's reasonable if you're trading a $15 guy for $1 guy, I guess. But I would still take your side.
Agreed. Let's move on, because now Nick said Raymond's done being the trade guy. Nick said, I'm gonna make the trades. He hit up Stan. He said, I just got this new Cam Smith a few days ago. I hate him. I want Tyler Anderson. So, Raymond, you can go first for the first time, basically. What do you think here, Tyler Anderson for Cam Smith?
Yeah, it's an interesting deal. Personally, I think I'd rather have Cam Smith from the keeper side. So it makes sense to me for Monkey Business acquiring Cam Smith. And I assume Stan made this deal. Stan the man made this deal because he needed like a number 4 or number 5 pitcher. Tyler Anderson, frankly, has not really been on my radar much at all this season, but just quickly pulling up his stats, he's pulling mid threes ERA, uh, which plays as a number 5 or number 6 starter.
Yeah.
Not familiar with his numbers under the hood, so I don't know how sustainable it's going to be. But this deal definitely makes sense, especially for Jack, who's in win now mode.
Yeah, and forgive me, I said it backwards. It is what Raymond just said, the other way around. Who's acquiring who? What do you think?
I would I think for this one I would easily take monkey business aside. To me, Tyler Anderson seems like a streamer to me. Like if he had the Yankees and Braves coming up, I think I would drop him. But I mean, so far this year, and I don't remember if last year or the year before he's been good. So maybe he
He had
found it
one good
again.
year, I think 2 or 3 ago, where he was like one of the biggest ever performers.
Yeah, I feel like that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, on the
And then last
Dodgers
year
in
wasn't.
2022, he had a 2.57 with a 1.0 whip and 178 innings. That's nuts.
And even last year, he was actually pretty decent. I didn't realize he had like a under 370 ERA. So
Yeah.
solid streamer. And if you think Cam Smith really isn't a good hitter yet, because I know he's a good defender, I think, but if you don't think his bat's there, maybe it's fair. Go out, make a bold move. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like you just said too, Griff. I was going to say, I assume maybe he had good starts coming up, which is why you want him. But in athletics, that's kind of tough. Small ballpark. Then the Yankees and the Red Sox. I mean, he was great against the Yankees and not so good the other 2 times. But I tend to agree. I think the 2 biggest leans I have were against Nick last time and then with Nick here. I like getting Cam Smith, especially when you're rebuilding. It makes sense for Jack to want to stream. He trusts, helps him get some quality innings. But I would definitely prefer the Cam Smith side. Let's finally get away from Nick or Raymond to do a Charlie and Zach one. This is Chase Dolander for Kenley Jansen and Grant Holmes. Raymond, what was your uncle thinking here?
I'm more curious what Zach was thinking here, to be honest.
Your Uncle Zach.
I definitely prefer Charlie's side, straight up. I kind of think Grant Holmes and Dolander are very similarly valued. They're both, I think, $1 players, and the fact is Grant Holmes has performed very well right now, and Dolander's not. Plus, he pitches in Colorado. I just feel like Zach could have gotten more here.
What do you think, Griff?
Yeah, I think wasn't this right after Dolander made like his first start being called back up or something? Or no, it wasn't.
I believe Dolander was hurt when this happened, actually. I'll check the dates.
I think he got hurt right after he made it, since unfortunately Zach's pitching is cursed. But
yeah, you're right, actually.
at the time, I didn't think Grant Holmes was much. Since this trade, he's like balled out.
Yeah, poor Zach. That was hours after.
And I feel like Kenley fits almost not quite the Luke Jackson mold of. I mean, obviously he's more established, but he's someone who throughout the year, I feel like I've thought had a shaky hold on the job, but he's just kept it and ran with it and been solid. So I think it makes sense for, I don't know, both sides. I don't know. Don't feel strongly about this. In hindsight, it looks bad for Zach, though.
Yeah. I think I'm with Raymond where it makes more sense to me if I'm Charlie. I assume Zach must be a lot higher on Dolander than I am. I think, like Raymond said, it's tough to pitch in cores. His first couple starts weren't special. But pitchers can very quickly, it's not a linear thing, sometimes just figure it out and be good. And I don't believe you have a ton of value after this with either Jansen or Holmes. I mean, Holmes is, I think he's doing pretty well, but even with that, I don't think he's necessarily part of the future. He feels like a little better than average streamer to me. Yeah, strikeout innings pretty good though. So yeah, I mean, I would say pretty confidently I'd rather have the Charlie side, but I get it, Zach. Especially because Zach, I think at this point is deciding to go for the rebuild. He's already made the trade with Brendan.
Also, at the time, Kenley had like a 5.4 ERA. And I guess since then he's looked better. But maybe at the time you thought he had a shaky hold on the job. And Charlie's always done well with picking up Angels closers with a shaky track record.
That is like his whole MO, right? All right, let's get into Zach's little brother now instead of Zach. So Nick's back, and he's trading with Jack. So this one's Luis Arias for Bryce Terang, 1-for-1. Griff, you first this time. What do you think here?
I would easily take the monkey business side, but part of that of me is biased since after I traded away Bryce Strang this offseason and he started the year crazy hot,
Yeah.
just with like power out of nowhere. And I know for a while he was the number one second baseman. Since then, I think he's had kind of a power outage, but the speed is still there. But at $6 for the number 74 player on the year, does that say he's still the number
He's
one
still a
second
top
baseman?
rating, yeah.
So I would
That shows you
easily
how
take
bad second
Turang.
base is.
Because what's Ariza's average on the year? Turang's hitting 277. Ariza's
283. So they're close.
283.
Exact same OPS too.
So yeah, I would easily take Ariza's, but
You would take Terang, you mean?
oh yeah, Turang, my bad.
What do you think?
Opposite.
You're good.
Yeah, I fully agree. Definitely rather have Terang here. Surprised Arise is $31. I mean, Terang definitely has keeper value, and I wouldn't be keeping Arise at 36.
Yeah, I think you definitely wouldn't be. I have to think, let's just think average will help him maybe in a way that nothing else will right now, because I think you're giving away a guy with a year or two of keeper value who's arguably better anyway right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like rest of season, who has more home runs? Who has more RBIs and runs? It's probably close. Who has more steals? It's Terang on the land side. And then average probably rise by 20, 30 points.
Yeah, but also Terang's probably not going to, hurt you in average. In fact, he might
I agree.
help you a little bit. Just, not by the same margin as Arias.
One thing that helps Jack's side is he is, at least as of now, 12th in average. So maybe he did think, if you think Terang is a true 250 hitter and Arias is a true 310 hitter, maybe you think, I just got to go for it and make my moves.
Yeah. And I would say San Diego's probably like a half a tier better offense too. You're probably going to get better runs and RBIs maybe. I could see definitely believing that. Either way, though, I do think I would prefer Terang fairly strongly. So good job on this one, Nick. Let's keep moving up here. Jack was not done there. He wants to be involved in the trade talks. He said, I'm going to trade Correa and Frelick here. So, Raymond, you first this time. You like Correa or Frelick better?
Good question. Griffin, you want to lead off?
Yeah.
I hand you the mic.
Because I just had to look at it too because I'm not too familiar with how both are doing on the year. But because entering the year, I thought Correa was like a great, just basic shortstop but on the year he's the 30th shortstop. He's hitting 240, no speed, average homers, and Frelick has similar power but 11 steals and is hitting 290. So I would take Frelick. He's probably at the minimum too, I would guess.
That's what I was going to say. Frelick probably has some keeper value too if he's actually good. Yep. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, Correa, I would probably, if you put a gun to my head, say he's better than this the rest of the way still, just because I think he was everybody's sort of trendy 200-ish overall sleeper. And he's, besides that concussion, kind of been healthy, which is surprising. And he's actually, I think, been better since he came back from that last week or so. So he comes out of it. He's who I think is better for the year, but I'd probably rather have Frelick still, I think.
Yeah, I think Correa might be a safer bet for counting stats. Assuming health, which is a big if. I don't know. Frelick just has more tools to me. They both might end up with like 12 to 15 home runs. There's a good chance Frelick has a higher average and 3 times as many steals. I think I'd rather take Frelick here, especially considering the keeper value involved. So, kudos to monkey business.
I think we're all leaning there. Good job on that one. All right, we got 2.5 minutes. Let's close out with this last 1-for-1 deal. We'll come back on the side of a commercial here. Victor Scott for Jarren Duran. That's wild. I saw Jay Duran leading your team, Griff. I was like, damn. But no, Duran. So, Raymond, you're not Kyle or Griffin. What did you think here? Victor Scott for Duran.
Fair deal. If Kyle needs saves and holds, I think he got that, and if Griffin needed steals, he got that. I think it's very fair. I like Victor Scott's long-term prospects a lot as a keeper. At $1. Just seeing that Joe Duran's 18.
I think 24.
Oh, 24. In a vacuum, I'd rather have Duran, but in a keeper league like this, I think I'd slightly lean Scott. All in all, I think you both got what you need, and it's a fair deal.
Yeah, Victor Scott feels definitely to be like one of those guys where, depending how the second half goes for the season, he's either going to be ranked as like a $20 player because he ends up stealing like 45 bases and plays the whole time, or if he really cools off, he probably still is worth like $9, and you're like, oh, should I keep him for $6? I don't know. Surplus value, it's close. Whereas Duran, I think he's like a top 5-ish closer. He's the man, but you're probably not keeping him next year no matter what. So it makes sense if you're going for it and you need saves. Makes sense also if you want to just get the player with probably a little better long-term upside. Scott's got some prospect pedigree stuff too. I would lean probably you're planning to keep him, I would think, Griff, right?
I would hope. But like you said, if he has a bad second half, there's still uncertainty about it.
His hit tool for his, minor league career and little bites into the big leagues before this too. He can hit. He doesn't have a ton of power, obviously. But I don't think he's going to hit like 230 ever. I do think he's probably actually like a true talent, 245, 255, 265 type hitter. And if he gives you those steals, he could be another Bryce Terang type guy that you have in a year or two and pretty happy with for a couple seasons. So I think it's close to a win-win. I'd prefer your side very slightly. I'm just picking in the vacuum now. You guys have any last thoughts on that before we get out of here? We have less than a minute.
Well, since I got him, he hasn't given me any steals in the 5 games, and Kyle wants to go for it. I want to compete next year, so I think it makes sense for where we're at.
This way, you can always finish third, which is your passion. All right, see you guys soon. Okay, welcome back, guys. Let's get back into the rest of these big deals. 1 sec to share. Did you disable sharing, Raymond?
Yeah.
Can you enable me to share?
Oh, actually, I did not get a notification. I can share.
Yeah, if you want to share, it's fine. If you're just going to share, I think it should say allow others to share, whatever. Or you share. This is what Kyle does too. Kyle never lets me be the sharer. That's good. Thank you.
All right. All right. So the next trade, this blockbuster here, James Wood, Jacob Wilson, and Sasaki for Turner, Acuna, and Guerrero.
Griff, you're not Nick.
Yeah. Big trade.
You want to go first, Trey, or should I?
Sure. I can go first. So up front, I think I'd lean 60-40 in Nick's favor. This might be a hot take, maybe not, but I think James Wood might be the best player in the deal in a vacuum already, especially for this year because, I have a lot of questions about Acuna. Vlad, he can be frustrating to own at times. He has massive upside, but also, he's incredibly frustrating to own just because he hits the ball on the ground so often. And James Wood, he has 16 home runs already. He has like 10 steals. He might go 35 or 40 home runs with like 20 or 30 steals, like a 280 average. Jacob Wilson, I like a ton. He has a chance of going like 20 and 10 or 15 this year with like a 350 batting average. I don't think it's an absurd thing to say. Maybe to some people it might be, but he might be. He might outperform Vlad this year, I think. Plus, he has keeper value. And then Sasaki's long-term prospects I like a ton too. So I think, Nick, I like your side better by a decent amount. I think, if X Factor is trying to compete this year, I would have held on to Wood. He's like a Bobby Witt caliber player, I think. So
I like this. You might be my new regular co-host. You're way nicer than Kyle these days. Griffin, what did you think?
Yeah, what do you think, Griff?
Yeah, I'm pretty much right in agreement with you. I did something similar where I'm like, I would take James Wood over Trey Turner. I mean, at this point, I would probably take Vlad over Jacob Wilson just for this year, even as a big Vlad hater. Um, but it's closer than I would have thought. Um, and I don't think I'm not a big Sasaki guy for this year, but so then you do get Ronald Acuna basically by trading away that keeper value.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the reason I never win is I'm not willing to make these kind of deals. So I like to see it in the sense that I just like to see people, go for it and not really care that probably three of the podcast people think that it was we probably all three prefer Nick's side. Um, but yeah, it's hard to give up James Wood. Like I agree. I think he might be top three keeper arguably in the whole league. So it's just hard to part with that.
Before I
Yeah.
mean, I love that. That's excellent. Thank you. Before I talk about it too, I was in full sell mode here. A couple of my big blue chip guys are all involved in this. Arguably, probably the biggest three blue chip guys I've got or had. Would you have, Raymond, preferred this if it had been a very similar version of this trade? It probably would have been instead of Acuna, or pardon me, instead of Trey Turner, it would have been Dylan Cease in it. So Vlad, Acuna, and Cease for Jackson Trio and Bubba Chandler. Did I take the right deal, basically?
So wait, can you repeat the full offer again?
Yeah. So I was close here. I was close with Brendan both on trading Acuna, Vlad, and his would have been Cease instead of Trey. So there's three for me to get Bubba Chandler and Jackson Trio.
I'd rather have this deal you executed with X Factor.
That's how you feel too, Griff?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would take Wood over Churio, and I would take Jacob Wilson over Bubba Chandler right now. So
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I was making a strong push to acquire Wood right before this went down too, so I was pretty frustrated to see. I think I had offered like Jordan and Betts for Wood, something like that, before I settled on the Kemble deal. So
Yeah.
this was a great deal, and I hope it works out for you too, X Factor.
Yeah.
Hope Acuna comes back strong.
I'm rooting for it to work too, Eric. It's hard to give up all three of those guys because, I mean, Acuna wasn't playing, obviously, so he's ranked low. Vlad is, the last couple of years especially, been a very slow starter.
Yeah.
Even last year, when he had probably his second best season pretty comfortably, he was not great for the first month and a half. I have no doubt he'll be good. And honestly, Griffin probably disagrees because Griffin is a notorious Vlad hater here. But I kind of think Vlad at 34 still has keeper value for at least another year. We'll see. If Vlad is super underperforming in the second half, maybe not, but whatever that comes out to, 43 or something like that, 42, 43. I have a feeling if Vlad's ranked as a top 20 hitter, top 15 hitter again next year, you're going to most likely lean towards keeping him anyway. So I don't think you're getting no value moving forward either.
Yeah, considering positional scarcity too, I think Vlad, even if he only hits 25 home runs and like a 280 average, he'll still probably be ranked the number one first baseman heading into next year. Just because it's, even with the breakouts of Torkelson and, a handful of the other guys, Langoliers, or Soderstrom rather, Vlad's still probably the number one guy heading into next year, I think. And you should pay a premium for that, I think.
Yeah. The big thing for me here was just that in the last month or so, I feel like even for most of April, I wasn't really a believer in Wilson. Jacob Wilson's really kind of changed my mind. I feel like now I thought he was just going to be like Luis Arias-ish. But I also probably thought for the whole year he'd have like 5 to 7 homers and 5 to 7 steals, and he already has that in May. So
yeah,
I feel like there's definitely value there for a couple seasons at $9. And Hiroki was the last piece added, basically. I think there's probably a 25% chance I keep him after this year. I mean, but I think the transfer I do is so exciting because we loved him a year ago. We loved him even 6 months ago. He was going as like a borderline top 15 starting pitcher in like the end of the main event season. I feel like there's the downside is I just don't keep him. The upside is though that he comes back from his injury. He has some of that velocity back, and I'm excited about him for a couple seasons at $11. But yeah, I mean, bearing the lead there, what is the main reason I want to do it? And that's also kind of where I landed is at the end of the day, Wood felt even though I didn't feel this way even a month ago, Wood was the guy I wanted more than Trio. So
Yeah.
Eric was good to negotiate with. We spent days on this, and it hurt giving up, especially Vlad and Kudus, because they've been on my team for like 4 years now. They've been parts of championships, but enjoy them, Eric. I hope they get you another one, especially over Griffin since he won't make win now moves.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to take a quick uh, detour, but I feel like Eric's team realistically it's easily a top three team at this point, right? Is there any disagreement?
Well, who's he overtaking? You, Kyle, or Brendan to get the top three for sure?
It's gonna be me or Kyle, I think.
Yeah.
Like as of right now, at least.
You were the clear top four.
I think he's really good. I mean, his pitching staff is amazing. His offense from top to bottom is just so solid. So
Yeah.
I think we have someone who's going to be coming up soon.
We've got a real race, I think. That was the other. It probably would have been truly if it was 50-50 in my mind. Do I want the Brennan side or the Eric side? But I also kind of like the idea since I had more to sell of not making the guy who's already currently in first place that much further ahead in people's minds. I didn't want people to be like, I fear if I make a trade like this, maybe like a Jack or a Charlie or an Eric is like, Brendan's so much better. Why even try? It's harder as a sell. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for liking it. I appreciate that. Let's move on.
All right. So the next deal we have was between Kyle and Nick. Kyle dealing Reese Hoskins, Augustin Ramirez, and Matt Brash for Malley and Contreras. Nick, you want to walk us through that really quick?
Yeah, I'm selling, man. Kyle has asked a few times this season once my April went as poorly as it did for William Contreras. So naturally it makes sense if you're selling big pieces the day before. You want to try to sell more of them. Contreras, I think it's $16 if you think he's a top catcher. Isn't necessarily non-keepable, but it's hard to keep catchers for very long. And he's had a slower start. Probably still, I would guess, though, if I was going to rank them, I don't know if anyone besides Cal Raleigh is definitely a catcher I'd rather have. So it helps him. But for me, it was mostly about selling that because I think he's at cost, basically. Taking Tyler Malley's hot start, I probably wouldn't keep him at $6, but he's been very useful in Kyle with quality starts. And I'm guessing at $6 right now, Reese Hoskins is someone I'm keeping. And then we'll see on Ramirez. I'm on the fence with him, but leaning probably 55-45 yes right now for $6 next year. I like Augustin Ramirez. Good prospect. He'll play for Miami. We'll see if he's good or not. And then Matt Brash is throwing. What do you think, Griff? Did I get cooked here?
No, I like it for your side. I feel like it all comes down to is William Contreras like definitively a top two catcher? You know, like in his a tier of his own with right behind Raleigh, or is he more of like in the Will Smith, Logan O'Hoppe, Shane Langolier's tier? In that case, if he is, you know, in that less impressive tier, then I think you easily win this. Because Augustin Ramirez is in that tier, right? But if William Contreras is legit, then I think it is fair and probably 50-50.
Yeah.
It is nice getting Reese Hoskins as like a boring but solid, dependable keeper at $6.
He was the bigger piece of this for me. He's been much better than I thought he'd be. He looks like a couple years ago, and I don't know. I'm excited about it, especially now that I don't have Vlad anymore or Casas. I was excited to add a first baseman for cheap, who I think will be probably ranked first baseman 15 next year if things hold up. Good power. So, yeah. Makes Kyle better for this year, probably. And I have no reason to be good.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting deal. You know, Malley's the big question mark here in my mind. I mean, he's been incredible. And he might, like, luck his way into a Tanner Houck-like season from last year. You know, I don't think any of the numbers under the hood really support what he's done to date. But, you know, he might luck his way into like a mid-2s or low-3s ERA. And yeah, I like Augustin Ramirez a ton. You know, I think we'll have good keeper value heading into next year. Reese Hoskins has a good, you know, he'll play his way into, you know, being a keeper into next year too. And then, you know, Contreras has the track record that you would want. from a player you're acquiring if you're making a run for this year. So it makes sense on both sides to me. It's a good deal.
Maybe what about Malik? Because I had no idea what to do with him. He's probably the only pitcher I have all season or had that actually was overperforming. The end of the year, his ERA, I think it's like 1.6 or 1.7 right now. What's it end up at?
3.7.
It's 2.02. I didn't realize he had given up some runs yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, 2.02. I think he had a bad start last night or 2 nights ago where he gave up like 3 through 4 or something like that. And that was his worst start of the year.
He missed my roster.
So.
Yeah, I think he's a true talent, probably like 3.7, 3.8 ERA guy with like peripherals to say like low 4s, but he just usually beats him.
Yeah, I've heard on some podcasts that his fastball has a ton of rise, similar to what which has with his fastball. Maybe the models aren't capturing that, so maybe that's why he's kind of, numbers under the hood aren't reflective of what he's been doing. But also, he only has like 50 Ks in 70 innings, so I'm having a tough time buying him. But players can overperform, for entire stretches of the season. So,
and Kyle was primarily looking for quality starts, and I think wins. And Texas' offense has been better. It'll get better, and he does go deep into games generally.
Yeah.
All right, so that was 2 of me in a row. The third one here, I traded Cease for Polanco and Brenton Doyle. What do you guys think here?
I like this one a lot for both sides. Miz, I think, is getting a good pitcher. I'm not sure what he's done so far this year, but I think he's a good pitcher. Even if he's been performing poorly, I think you still want to buy him. Okay, 4.66 ERA. That's not very good. But he'll turn it around, I think. And if he does, then he might play his way into keeper value, because I remember him being pretty affordable. I think $16 last year. It's probably 21
next year. I think.
Yeah, and then Polanco, we talked about him on previous podcasts.
Yeah, but he's gotten really cold.
Awesome. He was awesome the first 2 months. It's gotten really cold, but I think the numbers under the hood still show that he's a good player, and he's shown that he's been a good player in the past. And I think that makes sense for you to acquire a player like that. Cheap track record. He'll probably hit 20 to 25 home runs with a 250 to 260 batting average, and you would keep that at $6. Brenton Doyle, I'm frankly not all that familiar with. But yeah, I knew he wasn't performing all that well this year, and understand that he was electric at a year or 2 ago. He's probably pretty cheap, I think, right, Nick?
Yeah, he'll be 11 next year. Polanco would be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he might play his way into being a keepable player. But yeah, I think it makes sense on both sides. This is competing. He got a proven pitcher. If not this year, then he's proven in past years, and you want to buy a player like that. It makes sense for me. What do you think, Griff?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's true 50-50 fair deal. Miz, I know, needs Ks. He's bottom half of the league in Ks, and if he thinks he's going to finish in the money, he'll need that. Polanco feels like a Rhys Hoskins type, where just solid, keepable, probably 30-year-old that you're happy to have. And Brenton Doyle, I think what I'm most happy is that Miz was willing to move on from him after, he gave up Brent Rooker to get him. And rather than anchoring himself into he's worth exactly what Brent Rooker was worth, he was willing to make a move that helps him. So I like that. So truly fair deal, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I feel like since I'm rebuilding, I don't want to have a bunch of pitchers. I think it's the most likely outcome that Cease is the most surplus value next year of these guys, but I'm not positive I feel that way, and I'm more excited that hopefully one or Polanco, Doyle, hopefully both, but at least one of them is so good from here that I'm super excited about them in a way that Cease probably had one more year of me being happy about him, and then maybe one where he's at cost. All right, let's break down some ones that aren't me. Next one, you got a 1-for-1 here. some Straley family haggling here. This is Adley for Austin Wells. I feel like I can go first here because I let you guys go a lot. I think it makes sense for Nick to acquire just the cheaper catcher, as well as a buck, I believe he is.
7, I think.
Oh, he's 7? Okay.
Or he was.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's the minimum. He's minimum.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he was 7 last year. So, catchers are not usually a great keep, but Wells has been hitting for some power. He's not doing a ton besides that, unfortunately, so far, but he did play well in the second half of last year. He's clearly the Yankees' established catcher. There's a pretty good chance he's a coin flip at the end of the year, but Adley was not going to be someone you kept. For Zach, I feel like it's probably you want your O and you're not likely to keep Wells, you think. And then maybe you think Adley, if he gets hot, his underlying stats are a lot better than what he's done so far since it's been so poor. Maybe a hot month and he becomes someone you can package with some other pieces in the trade you're making too. So both trying to sell. I think it's pretty close to even. I don't know. What do you guys think of it? I miss anything where someone definitely comes out ahead?
I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
I guess I can go.
I think it's pretty fair too.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Griff.
It's probably mostly just, Zach knows it's really hard to trade catchers, even if they are keepable. So why not go tier up to someone who could be, one of the top catchers in his opinion. And maybe he doesn't think Austin Wells could ever really become that. And, if you're an O's fan, why not just get a player you root for too?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's 50-50. And part of me wonders if Zach is going to try shopping Adley to a contender.
That's got to be
later.
Yeah.
I think Austin Wells definitely has better keeper value. If he hits 20 to 25 home runs in the Yankees lineup with good counting stats, he'll be a $6 player. There's a bigger question mark as whether or not Adley's going to be, $30 player or whatever he ends up being next year. But if he ends up performing, he can be flipped to a contending team for a good haul, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense for him to
pretty even
make that trade.
Yeah. Let's break down this last one. These both came through today, so it's a good thing we potted today, not yesterday. Kenley for Josh Young. Raymond, you go first here. You like Kenley or Josh Young better? This is Charlie and Eric.
I think I like Josh Young better. Both for this year and long term. I mean, I think, like we talked about before, I think Jansen, good chance he gets dealt at the trade deadline and probably is not a closer. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I just think there's a lot of question marks around him. If not for this year, then certainly next. Josh Young, he's batting cleanup tonight for Texas. I mean, Texas likes him. He might not be like the 30 home run, 290 hitter that a lot of people thought he would be when he was called up. But he's still a good bat that I think will probably deserve to be kept next year, assuming he's cheap. I forgot what his price is.
Yeah,
do you guys happen to have that handy?
Oh, he was 16 last year.
21.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if he continues doing what he's doing, he's going to hit in the mid-20s with great counting stats and like a 270 average. And I think that's justifiable at $20.
Yeah, that's about what I think about it. And when I first saw it, I heavily leaned to Charlie getting Josh Young. But now that I'm sitting down thinking about it, it's like Josh Young probably at $20 isn't a huge keeper if he is, even if he is kept. And Eric just has so much offense that if he really thinks Kenley is going to hold that job all year, and I mean, the Angels aren't that good, right? And they don't have anyone coming up to take the job since Ben Joyce is out for the year. So it seems like Kenley will have it for the whole year. So I think it's reasonable from that aspect. I feel like maybe he could have got someone better, but he needed it, so it's fair.
Yeah, I think it's very slightly Josh Young for me. I think he'll probably be about at cost next year unless you have a really strong second half. So I don't really think it's a ton of keeping value with either one. Young's the more valuable player, I think, pretty easily in a vacuum, but I don't know. I mean, Kenley, and Eric needs safe holds. I think that's his worst category by a good bit. So if Kenley and Eric and I talked about Tanner Scott, for example, we made our other trades before ultimately not having him involved. So I know he's out there trying to make a deal for closers. If he thought this was the best way to get one without giving up something big, I think it's defensible. I would say probably 55, 45. I'd take Young's side, but realizing where you are matters a lot. So I don't think it's hard. I think it's hard to fault Eric if this is your best chance to get a lock and loaded closer. I don't think Kenley's special, but if he just holds the job, he'll be pretty valuable, especially when that's your biggest need.
Mm-hmm. It also doesn't seem like Eric would ever really regret this trade.
Yeah,
like Josh Young won't be
like an MVP candidate.
So exactly.
Damn, good trade.
That's a good way of putting it.
Let's cover some ad drops from the last 3 weeks. What were some big pickups you guys liked? Or questionable cuts? I've got a few, but you guys can go first if you want.
Do you want to go first while I look at all of them?
Sure. If you guys aren't ready, I can go ahead first. We get ready for it. So I've got Roman getting Montez. I like that for $1. I like Zach paying like 25, 30, whatever it was for Cole Young. I think Charlie Condon to Mark was good. Nick getting Durbin, who's been passed around a bunch. I wish I still had Durbin. I know he's been pretty bad, but I like that a lot because he's got prospect pedigree. He's going to play the rest of the way probably. I think there's a really good chance he could get better. I like Barger to Brendan a lot from a few weeks back. That's one of the best ones total, I think. I wish I'd gotten that. And then I've got you streaming Ben Brown last week as a follower, Griff, was excellent. Ben Brown misses a ton of bats. He pitched great, but even before the game, I thought it was an excellent move. And then I don't know if I think it's one I actually like that much, but got to give Kyle props and Charlie Morton, man. Good job, Kyle.
I know that Charlie Morton one made me so mad. And especially now he's continuing to roster him, and he's going to just do so well.
That's Blake Snell this year. Terrible ERA for the first month and a half, but now Cy Young.
Charlie Morton and Blake Snell right there. Yeah, that Barger one was huge. He looks so good.
Yeah.
I like Brendan picking up Brian Baker just to get that save.
Yeah. Barger's numbers.
You re-adding Ryan Presley too, Griff, is the last one I had on my list. I think that's smart. I know it is a more recent one, but he's been
awesome.
One amazing bad blow-up. He's been pretty good, and I could see them getting him the job back if Palencios flips.
Well, I dropped him, so don't release this until waivers run tomorrow, I guess.
Well, it's not going to go tomorrow. Don't worry.
If you think I should pick him up.
I'm going to put a claim on him. Actually, I think he should be owned. He's not very good, but he's been good for about a month now, besides that one terrible game. But sorry, go ahead. What else you got?
Only other, I said Brian Baker, and then Jake Mangum I thought was a good pickup.
Good speed.
And I think he had a homer the day that he was picked up, or either the day after.
Yeah. Yeah, if he can give you 5 to 8 home runs and also steal a bunch of bases, he hits for a decent average. Is anybody you really like, Raymond, last couple weeks? Anybody you would acclaim?
Barger, I think, is the highlight of the pickups over the past couple of weeks. I mean, all his numbers under the hood are just incredible. I remember I looked him up as soon as he came on my radar, and he was already on Brendan's team. And then I automatically reached out to Brendan, and I think I offered him either Brian Reynolds and or Willie Adames. And he wanted to keep Barger instead. And I would still make that offer. If you're hearing this, Brendan, let me know if you changed your mind. Cole Young was another good one, especially in Zach's shoes as a rebuilding team. The day he was called up, I was really excited. I checked to see if I had picked him up because I could have sworn I put a $100 bid on him. And I guess I just never clicked submit or something. But kudos to Zach for picking him up for 27. Surprised he didn't go for more.
I think I had 22 on him. That's one of the ones I liked a lot too.
Yeah. But those were the big two that really stuck out to me. Ethan Holiday is another one. I didn't know he was part of the pool already. Kudos to Jack for.
Jack's good at that. Jack finds the guys who are just recently added.
Yeah. I probably won't be in the league for another 2 or 3 or maybe 4 years, but he'll be a top 20 prospect or 30 prospect that's available in this league, as soon as next year. So kudos to Jack.
I found 3 others. Charlie dropping Luke Jackson to pick up Tommy Canley for $21. I thought I could sneak a cheap bid on Canley after he was dropped that morning.
I had him for a buck. Yeah.
Brad got Danny Palencia, and Mark got someone, but I wrote it down too quickly. So, Mark, you got someone good.
Which Mark?
Which Mark?
Oh, Menace.
Was he adding Condon? Or no, that's Miz, I'm sorry. Miz added Condon, I think.
McCullers. Adding Lance McCullers.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of good starts now.
Yeah.
After that first blow up.
Yeah.
So, at a buck, maybe there's something there.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Barger, all 3 of us, I think, a little bit already, but it's crazy how consistently hard he is hitting the ball. And then he's also, I mean, he strikes out some, but not the way that would be problematic. He's just in the zone, really making hard contact pretty much every time he swings. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's like
99. I don't know if it'll
99%.
stick all year, but if it does, that's probably even a keeper. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then I guess Charlie picked up one of the best pitchers in Ryan Yarborough.
I love Ryan Yarborough. Good job, Charlie.
So we have about 7 minutes left, I think. You want to move on to the next segment, Griffin's game?
Yeah, you guys want to do the Griff game?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No time for Griff?
All right. So, backstory. This morning I was driving to work, and on, I think, CBS podcast, they mentioned Reese Olson, and I was like, who has Reese Olson? So I thought of a game where just go through a couple, like, more breakouty players and see if you can name what team they're on.
Oh.
So I have about 15 players, 15, 20. And it's just, what team are they on right now? See how well you know the league.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like I'm going to miss half of them. Let's do it.
All right, so I will go in reverse order of how well they've done this year, according to Fantrax scoring. So first one, I had Lance McCullers written down, but I spoiled that. That's Mark.
Yeah.
Do you know what team Ryan Weathers is on?
Roman.
And then Ray.
I'm going to say Jack.
It's Sparky. Sparky Mark.
Oh, gross. All right.
All right.
Also, are we alternating who goes, or should we, like, did I just speak out of turn? How should we do it?
Oh, yeah, I guess alternate. Yeah. All right, Bucher, you got 1. Zink, you got nothing. All right. Next up, Drake Baldwin. Ray, who do you think he's on?
Menace.
And then Nick.
I think he is on Mark Menace's team.
He's on Zach's.
No, gross.
All right.
Oh, when did that happen? Okay.
He's got a lot of catchers.
And Adley, he's rebuilding with catchers.
And then how about Tommy Edman? Nick, who do you think Tommy Edman's on?
That is new Nick.
Ray, what's well, I guess if you get it, should I just give it to you? I kind of spoiled it.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
guess.
Ray. Yeah, he gets it.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should avoid that point.
I got it right. Why would we void it?
Yeah, I'm giving it to
I
him.
didn't get a chance.
Well, yeah, that's because you went second.
It was my turn.
Sorry.
Okay.
I know after that crazy power output Edmund had, I think he's kind of cooled off, but it was still crazy.
He had a couple hits the other day. When he
Yes.
back pass though, yeah.
All right, next is Raymond. Do you know who has Emilio Pagan?
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's Minus.
Nope. Nick, what do you think?
Roman.
Oh,
Yep.
damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick knows the league. I guess that's why his
Should
name's
guess
on it.
Minus every time.
If only he was better at it.
All right, back to Nick. What team is TJ
Yeah.
Friedel on? It's 3-0 Nick right now.
He is on. Roman. I don't know.
Eh. Raymond, who do you think TJ Friedel's on?
Uh, Jack,
No, it's Brad.
stand the man.
It's Brad.
Such a Brad guy.
All right. I got 11 more.
Let's do it.
All right. Hunter Goodman to Raymond. Nope.
Is it
Nick,
Brad?
who do you think?
I'm gonna say Roman.
Damn.
Nope. It's Monkey Business.
Oh, really? Wow. Good job, Nick.
All right.
Oh,
Since
no.
it's 3-0 Nick, I'm going to change the rules, and Ray, you're just going to start for a little bit because
Okay.
we only got 10 left. I want to make it a little
All
closer.
right.
All right. Who has Sagano?
Thank you.
Raymond.
Charlie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. You know your uncle. Charlie's your uncle.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Raymond, back to you again.
Yes.
Who has Carlos Estevez?
Um, Brendan.
Nope. Nick, do you know Carlos Estevez?
Is it new, Nick?
Nope. I made a reference to this earlier. This is Charlie's other Angels struggling closer who had a firm uh, thing on it last year. All right. Raymond, I thought you'd get that since it's your uncle, but we'll go back to you. Who has
Uh,
Andrew Abbott?
stand the man.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. 2-3. Nick's still in the lead, so it's close enough that we'll go back to normal rules. Nick, who has Mackenzie Gore?
Mark Minnis.
Nope. Raymond?
Um,
Oh shit.
Kenzie Gore.
That's
Is it Roman?
You said Roman?
Yeah.
It's Eric.
I knew it. Damn it.
Okay.
Oh, I hate myself.
All right. Back to you, Raymond. Who has Clay Holmes?
Kyle.
Nope.
Brad.
Nick? Yep. 4-2.
Brad.
Even
Kyle.
with the handicap. All right. Back to you, Raymond. Who has Christian Yelich?
Hey, it's my turn.
No, oh, sorry. It's 4-2 again. So back to cheating rules for Raymond.
Yelich. That'll be Brad.
Yep.
That is Brad. Yeah.
3-4. So we'll go back to real rules.
Yep.
Nick, who has Geraldo Perdomo?
Charlie.
Nope. Raymond?
I'm gonna guess Brad again.
It's Brad again.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
We're tied up 4-4. Since we cheated so much against Nick, we'll go back to you, Nick. Who has Brian Wu with 3 players left? Who has Brian Wu?
Mund.
Who?
Raymond.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be funny if it was one of our guys. I saw Raymond laugh. Damn it.
Raymond, who has him?
Roman?
Yep. To take the lead, you're right. So now Zink's in the lead 5-4. Nick, since you're down, you'll go this time.
We can't share anything. All right. All right. That poorly timed commercial. Let's finish this bad boy up here.
All right. Final 2. Nick, you're down 4-5. Who has Cal Raleigh?
That's Brad.
Yep. All right. And then last one, we'll just do a lightning to settle the tie 5-5. Whoever gets this wins it all. Are you ready, Raymond?
I'm ready.
Are you ready, Nick?
On mute, Raymond.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. All right. Who has the following player? The player is named Chris Bubich.
Brad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Raymond wins. Congrats.
Yeah.
You know Bucher's league better than Bucher does.
Should rename the league Raymond's Bachelor Boys.
I mean,
You
all
should
the
make
teams
the
are named that.
Ravens.
Yeah.
I mean, like a fourth of the league is named Raymond, so
Dirty Raymonds and his boys.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true, though. We already have a lot of Raymonds in the league.
Yeah, we do. We do. It's fitting.
All right. You guys want to spend a few minutes going through some of the teams in the back half of the standings and look at like who the most exciting players are? Give them some content. Get out of here.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do it. Let me share again. What we're going to do here is we're going to tell you guys why your seasons are bad, but why you should still be happy. Because, for example, Brad's not bad, but Brad is Cal Raleigh. That's pretty sick.
Brad has a lot of people on that list.
Yeah. There were a lot of Brad. Who had the most people? Was it Brad, probably?
Yeah. As I was going
Yeah.
down picking them, I was like, there's a lot of Brads. I think it was like 6.
The more Brads, the better. All right, let's go. How high up should we start? I guess we can just decide if we think you're still in it. You don't get to be talked about.
Sure. Top half of the standings, maybe.
So Raymond and Brad are tied at 7th. Should we do either of them?
You can talk about me, but we don't need to.
Hmm. Should we quickly do you, Ray?
Yeah, let's start with Raymond. Fuck it.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let me just point out too.
Yeah, I'm not
Notice
seeing
this in real
much.
time. If you look at the games played, usually it's a harbinger if you're good or not. I have 22 more games played than anybody else. I'm in second or third to last place.
And I was shocked. This is my first time pulling that stat up, games played, or at least paying attention to it. I'm by far last in games played.
Well, it's working better than it would if you played a lot of guys, so don't do it.
Yeah, it must suck.
Okay. So obviously we love Christian Campbell, even though he's been bad for a month.
Yeah.
Michael Bush is 900 OPS, pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Bangaliers
Remember.
cooled off a little bit, but I like him.
I don't know any of these prospects. I mean, I know Max Clark, but
I like Connor Griffin a lot.
Because of his name.
Yeah. Like Griffin's a lot.
I still like Austin Hayes too, man.
he could be in that Jorge Polanco, Reese Hoskins, just
Exactly.
solid veteran kept.
He feels like that to me.
If we're ready for pitching, Crochet is probably third best
Yeah.
keeper pitcher in the league, right? It's Skeen, Scooble in whatever order than him right there.
Yeah, probably. I'm trying to think, is there anybody else? I mean, if Bubik has a whole season like Crochet did last year, maybe Crochet and Bubik are close, but yeah, I think it's Crochet.
And I mean, if you take out health, he probably is in that tier at this point, right? Like I'm kind of worried about the health, but when he's pitching, he performs almost.
Crochet.
Yeah, Crochet.
Oh yeah, I'm not even worried really he gets hurt. I'm just worried since he's never really thrown besides last year. They slowed him down a lot, and he got a lot worse in the second half. Since he pitches 7-8 innings so often this year. He's already got 82 innings. Like when he gets to 140, 150, do they have to start skipping him some, or does he? If they don't skip him, does he just perform worse? We'll see. But if he doesn't, then yeah, he's basically on par with them.
He had a surprising amount of innings last year.
What did he end up?
I think it was like 140 innings last year.
Yeah, that sounds probably about what I would have guessed.
Yeah, 146, which was more than I thought. I thought he had like 115 or 120 last year.
Will they let him go 200 this year, you think, Raymond, if they're in it?
I mean 180 to 200, but even then, I think it'll definitely be 200. But if I had to bet, it'd probably be around 180 or 190. And you can be a top tier pitcher with that many innings. I
160,
mean,
you can be a
no
top.
one Cy Young with like 160 that one year.
Yeah.
So
And then pairing him with Cole Reagan, who is, assuming he comes back fine, is still probably top 10 keepable pitcher, right?
yeah,
Yep. I would say so.
And then among the higher price closers, Andres Munoz is there's still value there, and
He feels like one I
he
would
looks
keep
amazing.
one too.
Because at this point, he's probably in the conversation for number one closer, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we drafted today, he might be my top closer.
he's had some hiccups recently, but I think he's still number one.
I think he'd be my top one if we drafted. He's getting mixed in with all the pitchers, so he's not going to be ranked artificially high relief pitcher
Yeah.
here. But yeah, he's the man. Good
He's
foundation.
pretty.
I mean, those guys combined, just Crochet, Munoz, and what's his name, Reagan's. That's going to be like 45, $50 max.
And we didn't even mention Otani, who's still plenty keepable.
No.
Yeah, but when Otani goes like 50, 30 this year and takes a step back, he's still what, $15, $20 surplus.
Yeah, but imagine what you could sell him for.
So yeah, there's reasons to be excited, Raymond. I know this season's gone terribly for you, but don't fret.
Maybe if I actually start getting some games played, maybe I'll eke my way up the standings.
I must just have been streaming terribly, I guess. I do think that's interesting, though. I'm going to go back and look at the other years, at least on Fantrax. I think at least the last two or three, whoever has the most games played finishes first or second.
I feel like that could be kind of like what is it, like the planes that come back, like you look at where they were shot, and it's like the people who win were in it towards the end, and that's why they kept.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and honestly, yeah, mine will drop a lot. I'm going to start probably picking up guys who don't play every day and stuff. That's true. All right, so we did Raymond. Let's do Brad. Oh, the standings changed since I last had this up. Okay.
They were just tied, and now
I guess something is our game.
firmly
Oh
took
yeah,
the
it's
lead.
650. That's why. Okay. Somebody just got a hit, I guess. But it was for you, Raymond.
Right. That's a lot of good players.
Yeah, dude. Perdomo for a buck is sick. Cal Raleigh for 14.
Cal Rap.
Yeah.
Raymond,
Yeah.
if you were to guess, how many home runs does Cal Raleigh end up with?
40, I guess.
That's so funny.
I mean, I'd put the over under at 40, I think. I mean,
Me and Griffin
what do you think?
like 2 days ago with each other. That's funny you say that. Zach Neto also is like a bona fide legitimate star, dude. Zach Neto's so good.
Yeah, Zach Neto's ridiculous. I mean, he's a step down from that, Bobby Witt territory, but he's a 25, 25, 30, 30 guy, I think.
Yeah.
What was that tweet that came out the other week? Like, look at his past 162 games, and he's hit like, what, 32 home runs with like 28 stolen bases.
He's a 30-30 guy. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
And then you still have two in there. Friedel for a buck we love. Julio, even in the high 30s, is going to be super valuable.
New bar at $3, I think could be.
Who, I'm sorry?
New bar.
Oh, yeah.
Not a big, but top 30 outfielder, at least in our scoring according to Fantrax.
I assume since Westbrook's coming back in a few days, he gets back on track, and then you're probably going to be not over the moon, but excited with him at 16 next year.
Yeah.
And
You're
then
gonna have to
Vientos, if he
high
has a
five
good
him,
month.
too.
And then, I mean, Bubic is just been
Yeah,
phenomenal.
which is awesome.
He's definitely the top breakout pitcher of the year. I can't really think of anybody who's been more impressive besides.
Dude, if we were doing cold takes exposed, we could expose maybe for the preseason take that I was confident Peter Fairbanks would get hurt or be bad, and that either Uceda or Mason Montgomery would take that job easily. So I was so sure of that. And then they're both bad, and Fairbanks is excellent.
Hoffman could also be kept, maybe. I mean, 1.1 whip. His ERA looks crummy, but they're going to him, and that $11 next year.
Yeah,
He's on what, like a 4-year deal?
something like that. Those last two starters, too. I mean, Lodolo and Holmes are like probably right around what they'll cost next year, but maybe one of them's just even better from here, and it makes it an easy case to keep.
Yeah, I didn't realize how good Lodolo was. He was kind of a blind spot of
Yeah,
hating Cincinnati pitchers, but he was
Assuming he
really
good.
good.
starts the year like in April or May next year, you keeping Garrett Cole for 20?
Yeah, if he starts the year, I would. Is he supposed to?
I'm trying to remember, he got it in what, March? Or was it in April?
I think it was
It was in
early
March.
April.
Yeah, he got his
Was it
surgery in
right
March.
before
And
their
he has
big?
the non-Tommy John. It's like the brace thing like Strider got. So he should be back for the start of the year, I bet.
Yeah,
I think I would keep him. I mean, name value would make it hard not to, right? It's like number one pitcher 2 years ago and looked great last postseason for $20. I probably
Yeah.
still would.
I mean, if he re-enters the draft pool, he'd probably go for what, $25
Yeah.
at least. So
All right, Brad. You got some Brads are more hitters, but some fun ones. All right. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say for Charlie, we love PCA probably.
now PCA sucks. Dealing to me.
I can't believe how good he is.
He's so good, man.
He's so good.
I mean, I think if you're ranking like the
Yeah.
top overall keepers in the league, PCA is like top five ish.
Yeah, I think he's right there with I think he's in the top tier for sure.
He's up there with like Corbin Carroll and the two aces, Skeens and Scooble. But he's
Yeah.
cheaper than almost all of them too. I think Josh Naylor's gonna be worth it at 16 next year.
Josh Lowe's looking like he's worth it. Obviously,
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill's the top.
I'd probably throw back Semien, I think, though.
Um,
We'll see about Marcelo Meyer, man. I think he's good though. Stowers,
Yeah,
I'd still think
having him for
next year.
yeah.
He hits the ball hard as hell.
I mean, one of those bottom three will be kept Meyer, Manzardo, Stowers.
Yeah.
But hard to tell at this point who's legit
Who's
and who's.
the Charlie pitching staff?
I think Estevez will be kept. Yeah, Charlie has a good team.
Oh, Luzardo. I mean, Luzardo's
Jordan
stats
Romano,
also after that like
no.
9-run blow up, but Luzardo I'm definitely keeping for 13. Probably be leaving
Yeah.
some Logan Webb too.
Oh.
Logan Webb's really good.
I was gonna say even Sagano at 6 at this point, you probably would.
Yeah. I'd operate as if I am at least.
And I mean, Grant Holmes so far is looking like he's in the conversation. I don't know much about him for real, but so far he's looking like he could be an option.
Yeah. I mean, if he keeps his ERA in the mid threes and a whip sub 1.2, you might want him for $6. Charlie
The
might have
big
the
thing
fewest
is
like
he-
slam dunks of these other teams we've talked about, but he has, I think, the top two I like from all of them combined already in PCA and Merrill.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
No.
think that's the best two combo we
Yeah.
might see in the league.
It'd be hard to beat that because, yeah, Merrill's on his own already, like another top 10 ish, top 15 for sure, one probably.
We're ready for Mark. Sparky.
Abrams.
Kurtz is the big one that I had written down for Sparky.
Who?
Nick Kurtz.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, he was going on a tear before he got hurt.
Yeah, he had no home runs and he had like 4 in a week.
Yeah, figured it
Elliot
out.
Thomas at 6'2" is great.
George Springer could be in that conversation as a
Yeah, man. He's actually like
More
also
boring.
hitting the ball hard and stuff too. He's not just like getting lucky. Would you guys
Sage
lean yes
Snodgrass.
or no on Schwarber?
let's see, 37 would become what?
I think 49.
Would be 49.
Yeah, I mean that's if he hits 40 low 40s home runs, then yeah, with that average, 962 OPS. I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing,
And then he's not at 0 in steals either. He might get to double-digit steals.
yeah.
I think 49 is a good number. 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 49 is a good number.
I mean, he could have like 230 runs plus RBIs with, going 40 and 10.
Yeah,
That
and
that
especially if you fill out with cheaper guys as keepers, just going in the draft now and you have a top three rounder in a two util league.
You gotta love the weather's there.
Yeah. Mick Abel is exciting. He flashed in his one start. McCullers, uh, has been interesting, to
What
say
do you
the
guys think about
least.
Chris Sanchez? I know he's been doing pretty well since he came back, and that weird where it's like he might be out for a while. I know he's not missing the same number of bats. Like, is he going to be okay? You guys think? Because if he is, he's a slam dunk at 12.
I mean, even if he's a high freeze ERA guy, I think he's a slam dunk at 12.
Yeah, I think so too. And he's striking more guys out this year and good team.
Yeah.
One thing is, Mark, if you listen, put Burns on your IL and pick someone up, please.
Yeah. Doesn't quite have like a Merrill or a PCA, but he's got some really good ones. Again, the Chico Ramos, Kurtz.
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan is still
Yeah,
easily
Quan's probably
keepable.
defendable too. That's just Quan's hitting for a little bit more power this year too. Zach can rival Charlie though, and
On
you
to Zach.
look at some of these guys. I mean, Ellie, Bobby Witt. I know Witt's getting pricier, but still, Bobby Witt and Ellie is amazing.
Soderstrom, Torkelson,
Yeah, Holiday.
Riley,
Holiday.
Holiday,
Riley,
Meadows.
that
Oh,
How do you guys feel about Michael Harris?
Meadows. Keishel, I like a lot. Um, I mean, yeah, this is a great team for a keeper league.
At this point, you'd probably still keep Harris, right? I know it's so underwhelming, but at that price with the flashes he's shown,
I guess what's the lowest OPS and average you'd be good keeping him still at?
mm, maybe 240, 710.
Yeah, I think for me, the OPS being under 700, I'd be a little bit more cautious. But yeah, I mean, I think you're probably leaning yes still. It's also only been a third of the season.
And I mean, he's what, probably like 24 years old,
Yeah,
25.
I know it's been rough going his first few starts back, but George Kirby I still love at 16.
Oh, and that injury tag's just because he got hit in the face, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's so tough, dude. He didn't even give a fuck. He just stayed on.
Pepio's been a lot better than I thought he would in Tampa in that
Yeah, I'm
ballpark.
impressed. Did you guys see the stuff with Tampa's? I mean, the Athletic Stadium is playing the way we thought it would, but Tampa's like playing pretty neutral. It's like I think a 101 hitter factor. I
That
don't know
sucks
if
for
that
me. I
curve
went
will get
all in.
better as it gets hotter, but I don't know.
Yeah, someone who went all in on Tampa hitters. I know you went all in on athletic hitters, so you're probably feeling better about that.
Yeah.
I'm a big A's guy now, man. Wilson, Butler, and Booker. I'm watching all their games. So Zach's got some of those blue chip guys up top, especially.
And then it's like, who knows what Jack Leiter will be?
Yeah. Should we do me or just skip me?
We'll do
At
you.
a dollar, that's pretty attractive.
I guess we did Raymond. We can do me, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Brad's back ahead of you, Raymond. Sorry.
It's okay. He has a good team.
So humble.
Congressman Raymond someday. Well, I can't talk about my team. You guys have to do it.
All right. I mean, it seems like almost every spot there's possible keepers. Who knows what Augustine Ramirez is at this point? But so far he's been on fire. I know has he kind of cooled down? Kind of
I think he's
seems like it.
like
Hitting
Yeah,
247
yeah.
homers.
he misses Kyle's clubhouse.
Reese Hoskins will hit 30 homers. Dylan Moore having 8 homers, 8 steals at $2. What the heck? How did he? I didn't think he had that kind of power, or was that good?
He's not.
Royce Lewis, who knows if he's good or not, but
What what's the threshold, Nick, that of Royce Lewis's performance for you to keep him or not? Like, what if he finishes like with a 210 average and like 10 home runs? Do you keep him at 16?
Probably not.
I
No.
assume, yeah,
If he gets like, I would probably need him to for like this day forward be like a 260-ish hitter with over a 20 homer pace. So if
yeah,
he finished the year like, I guess that would probably get him close to like a 210 with like 17 home runs. I'd be considering it, but I mean, right now I'm probably 40-60 or 30-70 not keeping him.
yeah.
But the other
I
thing
think
is too,
if
like he has no real trade value. He's just been so ass. Like I kind of just have to hold on and hope he figures it out. He's kind of like a what's his name, the pitcher traded for.
Alcantara?
Sandy and Roki are like that too, where it's
oh
like
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not worth anything, but also like I would guess confidently one of Sandy, Roki, or Royce like is good enough in the second half. I'm like, oh, maybe I should keep them, but I doubt more than one of them does.
Yeah.
I feel like he just needs like a hot month, and then you would kind of change. Like even if he ended up with bad season long numbers, if he went out in August and hit like 8 homers and 2 of them were grand slams again, I feel like you might still convince yourself, just that he's finally healthy again.
Yeah,
Jacob Wilson's an obvious keep.
I can't
Willier
believe
Ryu is awesome, super underrated in my opinion. I like him a lot.
yeah, for a buck
13
these
homers.
things.
Yeah, Lawrence Butler's awesome. James Wood might be, top five keeper among all batters in the league. He definitely
Gavin Sheets could be kept.
Rutgers awesome. Yeah, ton of great keeper value. Roman Anthony. And I like the DeFreeze pickup too, even though he's only like 18 or 19. San Diego's super aggressive with their prospect
Yep,
promotion. Um, he might debut next year.
yeah,
If
that's exactly what I think. I just
yeah,
myself.
I was going back and forth between him and Connor Griffin, and Griffin's a year older, but DeVries is or Padres are definitely very much more aggressive than the Pirates with their promotions. So good pickup there.
Thanks, man.
And I think Wood's been awesome too.
Yeah, Boyd is like surprisingly been awesome. More in a strikeout inning. He's also faced like a really tough. He's faced the Dodgers twice. I think he faced the Yankees too. He's had a pretty tough slate of matchups.
Yeah,
But besides him up there, I mean, I assume Strider gets better.
yeah.
You probably like Noah
Ranger,
Cameron.
say again.
Do you like Noah Cameron?
I think he's perfect for a team like what I have now. He's not really missing bats up here, but it's hard to deny he's been pitching well. If he becomes Tyler Malley, I don't like him very much though.
And then on your IO, you have a bunch of interesting names. Logan Gilbert still. Logan Gilbert, right?
Yeah, Gilbert's definitely staying, but probably not Manaya. Probably not Raylo as it stands right now. Probably not Roki if you maybe guess today, but we'll see. Need a few of these guys to get hotter in the second half.
Yeah. I just like what you did where almost every spot you can see a case for it.
Yeah. How many days before you trade for Max Muncy, Griff?
Probably a while.
Well,
I'm not
before
going
too much
for it.
longer. He's only 16. I'll just be keeping him.
Oh shit. Now I want him then.
You got to
If
hurry.
he's keepable.
O'Neill Cruz for Roman here.
Oh, true. I still see okay, now it updated. I still saw your team. I was like, you don't have them.
I'm getting him for Roman. Tatis. I imagine Roman's team will look different soon too. We saw him just update a couple days ago saying he's trying to sell now.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what he can flip Harper and Devers for, probably.
He should do something to get Churio if Brennan's still willing to listen on him. Feels like a reasonable argument. Brennan wants corner infielders.
I think I texted him that. I think I said you should offer Harper and Devers for Churio.
He should. It's a good fit.
We all want it to happen.
Make it happen, boys. Would you consider keeping him
Yes.
at 7? He's been so good. If he's good the whole way, he'll probably get a job next year closing again. I probably would.
If he has
Yeah,
a closing gig heading into next year, then absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if he signed with the White Sox.
Then you might want to keep. We'll see what Zebby does. We'll see what
Joe,
Yeah.
Yuri.
Got to be excited about getting Yuri back.
Yeah.
Logan Henderson down there in the minors. I love Logan Henderson.
Woo's an easy keep.
Oh yeah,
Class A will be interesting.
yeah. Class A will
It
be.
all depends where he ends.
You're probably leaning yes on. Yeah.
He's gotten better the past couple months, or month or two.
Yeah, and then best case if he signs and with the Yankees to be their closer, then you get two in him and Cade Smith. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say that you really want one of them to be for sure the closer or get traded. Imanaga was great too before the injury.
Logan Henderson was great before he got sent down.
He'll be back. Yeah, I love Logan Henderson.
Yeah, I think it was just load management.
I think they needed a reliever or something too, which is stupid, but he had the options obviously. All right, and then last and first most important, new Nick.
Hunter Goodman is the second best catcher.
Dude, if he's that, you definitely want him. You can definitely see at least one of him or a what's his name? Wells. Terang, we said before we love. I think Cam Smith, you're probably leaning yes, as long as he plays well and keeps getting better throughout the year.
His
I
counting
like
stats
Goodman.
are just so
I think
bad.
Goodman's going to end up being worth it. I know he's doing terrible right now, but he's good.
Brendan
Probably
Donovan's
too.
amazing.
Edmund's going to be tough. We'll see how he finishes out. But Frelick, if he doesn't come back at all this year,
Myers at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it again.
I was gonna say Jake Myers at the minimum.
Yeah, he's playing up
At
to
this
like
point.
being in conversation. I was going to ask the same question basically about Lawler. If you don't see Lawler again this year, or it comes up like September, would you keep Lawler?
He would have to show something. I know
Yeah.
he's so young and he's still like top 10 prospect on all lists, but he just hasn't shown enough, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd probably be leaning against it personally. It's just tough because again, like you said, he's only 22, and a couple weeks ago when he first came back up, I was like, oh, dude, I want him.
He'll be a classic post-type sleeper
Yeah,
after everyone writes him off. Lozana and Jenkins are probably two of the best prospects you could have, or up there.
yeah, I love both of them. I wish they were 1 instead of 6, but I love them both. Hopefully, one of them ends up still being worth it next year. It's not letting me scroll.
Jack Flaherty's been lights out for
Yeah, Jack Flaherty
$11 next year.
not scrolling too much.
Ober will be a hard case at 16.
You just got to sit him for his first start every year. He's always asked that very first game. Oh my God, back to that. There we go.
Why's he got Bailey Falter?
Because he's been elite, dude. He actually has been really
He really
good.
has.
And like the same way that if you cut a run off his ERA, he's basically the same guy, Alley. Littell also is basically an Alley. No strikeouts, bunch of innings though. Pretty good outcomes. 8 quality starts is super valuable. And we assume Luis Vito's back in like a month or so, and then good.
Yeah, a good cube.
Yeah, it was funny when he picked up Littell. I was like, "What's he doing?" And then he went out and had that complete game.
On like 85 pitches.
No, 115.
Oh, actually, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. It was a lot of pitches. The one before that, I think
Oh,
he threw 8 innings of 86 pitches, like that. All right. Well, there's reasons to be excited, boys. Just because you're not Griffin about to potentially win this league, it's still a really fun time.
oh no, I'm dropping today, so I'm gonna sell off too.
You're
I'm gonna
finishing
update my
third,
trade.
whether you sell or buy. Raymond, if you were to guess right now, who wins this league?
Uh, I'd go Brandon, but anything can happen.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he's the slight favorite.
yeah, we were talking about X Factor being, being a sure thing top four team. I can see him making a strong push. Um, I'd like to think I still have a chance. Probably not, but I'm gonna make a strong push for the top three.
You need Swanson and Altuve and Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, let's chat. I need quality starts really bad. That's what I'm missing out on. But yeah, either Brendan or Griff or Kyle. I think those are the clear favorites so far. Um, what's the projected standing saying? Okay, Brendan number one, then Kyle, then Griff, then X Factor, then me, then Stan. It's the top six.
Dark horse Raymond, though, I like that.
Plenty of season left. I'm sure next podcast is going to have a slightly different tone with how things are panning out. So
Yeah, because Kyle will be so sad on here.
yeah, when he's in ninth place.
Fourth. I'm calling you out, Kyle.
Tyler Matley sucks, Kyle.
Don't tell Kyle that. He loves him.
Your team it's only Judge. That's the only good player.
Yeah.
Even ignore the other ones like Trout and Jose Ramirez and everyone. Yeah, you suck, Kyle.
Hope the move's going good, Kyle. Miss you.
All right, boys. And thanks for calling for Kyle. Let's get out of here.
All right,
All right.
see you.
Peace, guys.
Bye.
Fellas.